Welcome, everybody. We're so happy to be back again. Welcome, Moreno.
Hello, Deborah. Today we are 3 minutes late. Technology got the better of us.
Isn't that the way, though? I tell you. So at least we always meet at least a half an hour ahead of time before we do these LinkedIn lives, just to work out some of the technology and to make sure things are working properly. But even then, there could be some glitches. So just a little tip there for you before we get started here. So today we got a really great topic, which I think this is a really timely topic, Moreno. You and I had discussed like what would the audience want to hear about. And so we're going to talk very briefly about marketing trends for 2022. And people always have this question in mind, Moreno, what do we do now? Which is a really important question. And I've got a PowerPoint to kind of assist us through the conversation and discussion today.
You're right. It is an important topic and has been for many years, and it doesn't seem to change. There's always more and more choice, and things are getting more and more complicated in the marketing world. Most people seem to be chasing the silver bullet. Everybody is fearing FOMO, the fear of missing out. Everybody is rushing. And when we think that we've got a grip on it, then something else slides in the way and takes us away once again.
Absolutely. So let's start with the slides, Moreno, and we'll get right to the content and material.
Okay, there we are.
So the big question, what do we do now? So I'll have you flip to the next slide there. This is the big question that we have when it comes to marketing trends is the selection of marketing trends that we move forward to. And we know that there's numerous things that we can select, right? I mean, don't you find that, Moreno? We get confused in the process of selecting what would be right for us as individual business owners.
Yes, there's always too much to choose from.
Right. So let's move on to the next slide here. Because we know that when we select a marketing strategy, Moreno, there's lots of things that we need to consider. I always recommend that clients really focus on sort of their ideal goals. They identify the goals that they want to achieve for their business, but ultimately what they want to achieve for the next year, 3 years, 5 years, maybe even if they can't think that far forward, what do they want to achieve for the next year, the next 6 months, the next month? And then what do they want to put into their planning schedule? So I believe that this particular slide in the PowerPoint sums it all up, because there's lots of things that we need to consider. And we get this light bulb moment, like we get this idea of, hey, I want to do this, or something comes to mind, and then we think we want to jump into it without really thinking through it clear. What's your experience on that, Moreno?
The advice is always don't get overwhelmed. Keep things simple, because they work. Simple things always work. We need to be aware, or we need to know that we need to be seen and heard in as many places as often as possible online. Marketing is offline and online, and now we're talking about marketing online. So everything that we need to do, we need to keep in the back of our minds that we need to use these tools to be seen and heard in more places, more often. This is marketing. It takes time. There's no quick solution. There's no silver bullet. Marketing needs to be done in a linear, methodical manner, repeatedly, over a long time. Deborah.
Yeah, actually, I agree with you. The simplicity of it, giving it real thought and attention is critically important. So I'll have you flip to the next slide, Moreno, because I want people to understand the complexity of marketing and what's involved in this process. Because really, one of the big questions of a business owner, whether you're a solo entrepreneur, whether you are running a bigger business, sales and marketing is part of the process. And the question comes to mind, what marketing strategies do I invest in? And this is key because it's investing money and time and energy. And sometimes, like you had mentioned before in one of the previous segments, Moreno, we're not guaranteed results. And often you're trying a strategy, there's testing and measuring involved. And sometimes you have to stay with it and you have to persist before you're going to glean any results. And like you were saying, it's not going to be this magic kind of thing happening. It's going to take time. So I wanted to actually run through a couple of these marketing strategies because I realize this slide is going to be really hard for the audience to see. But I mean, listen, typical things: LinkedIn, Facebook, message strategies, social futurist. You're trying to think about the future and developing relationships for the future. YouTube, content marketing, speaker. People talk about speaking as being one of the most profitable and the very present strategies that we could be able to use on a variety of different platforms. And speaking is one of the, the greatest things that we should be investing in for visibility. And of course, doing it here on this platform is a great strategy, but you have to speak, you got to deliver content and material, you got to engage your audience, and you got to believe, really believe in what you're delivering, and it has to have value. Things like digital ads, Facebook ads, YouTube ads. I mean, every platform has ads, Google ads, organic social marketing, Instagram, Facebook lives, of course, LinkedIn live streaming and live video, which is what we're doing right now. Referral marketing, conversion rate optimization, search engine optimization, Google Analytics, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, TikTok videos, websites, newsletters, email marketing, which are the sort of the traditional types of marketing that we do, podcasts, summits, book publishing, TED Talks, launches, webinars, storytelling, video, and it goes on and on and on. What do you think about that, Moreno?
It's all part of marketing. However, the trick is that we don't need to do all that. We just need to select a handful of the most important ones and work with those. That's all that we really need.
I absolutely agree. Flip to the next slide, Moreno, because I want people to understand that when it comes to marketing, we have this tendency, this fear element inside of us where we are, wanting to do all these different aspects of marketing, and we jump from one thing to another. In other words, we become restless in the process. And this is a really important aspect because this requires mental fitness and shifting your brain to be able to understand that business doesn't have to be hard. It can actually be easy. We make it hard. And one of the aspects of sabotaging our performance in the marketing realm is that we become restless. So restless means that we're constantly in search of sort of the greater excitement in that next activity or constant busyness. And rarely are we at peace or content with the current activity that we're doing. And we're seeing things on the internet, and we're seeing things when we're scrolling our news feed, different ads to try different marketing strategies. And we want to leap to this next one. Moreno, what do you think about that?
You're right, Deborah, that is a people problem, that somehow we think that we need to be on the alert for the next new thing that we should adopt. You see, marketing doesn't bring immediate results. Marketing results take time. And many people are under the illusion that when they don't get marketing results soon, immediately, it's because they're not doing the right thing, or they're not using the right tools, or they're not using the latest technology, which is not true. What marketers and business people need to do is they need to do things properly, first of all. And once again, over a long period of time, because marketing results take time. And they need to be consistent.
Right.
So when all these other flashy things the latest come across the screen, forget about those. Just know that the basic marketing that you have chosen, when done well, consistently, it will eventually bring results. We just need to keep in mind that whatever tool we use is helping us to be seen and heard in more places more often.
Yeah,
And
I
yes,
agree.
Deborah,
Yeah,
carry
I
on.
agree with that. Anything else you want to share about that in particular?
I'm handing off to you now, Deborah. That was my
Okay.
last point.
Yeah, sure. Flip to the next slide there, Moreno, because what happens is when it comes to marketing or when it comes to the sales process online, is we get scared. And so what happens is we avoid the whole thing. We put our, or we bury our head in the sand or pull a paper bag over our head and we go, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. This is way too scary. Or really uncomfortable because there's a learning process that we go through that we have to move from. Maybe it's an experience that we've never had before to trying something new and then figuring out all the technology. And listen, as seasoned as Moreno and I are online or speaking or training, we still have tech glitches. We still have issues and problems with, the equipment that we're using or the software that we're using. And you just kind of push through and you move through it. But the avoider element inside of us is focusing on the positive and the pleasant in an extreme way. And then it's actually avoiding difficult or unpleasant tasks or particular conflicts. So what happens is we perceive the technology or the platform that we're using or the marketing strategy that we're implementing as being difficult. It's the perception initially of it being difficult, when in fact it's not, but that is our perception. So we avoid it altogether, which really does nothing for the growth of our business and development.
You're right, Deborah, that marketing tools can be complicated and we make it worse for ourselves by using too many tools, by running after too many methodologies and techniques instead of keeping things simple. When we keep things simple, then we become more focused. We don't become confused and we do things properly. We need to do things properly.
Yeah.
Deborah, I think that, and I'm going to ask you the same question. I think that the tools that people need to use now are definitely email and the new technology that people just simply need to adopt, which COVID has accelerated and forced us to use, is streaming technology, or also known as live video, webinars, in other words, video online. What do you think about that, Deborah?
No, I agree 100% with that. Those elements to be able to use the LinkedIn lives and video, the live video, are going to accelerate. They're going to move more quickly. They're developing a lot more technology within LinkedIn for that. And so that is where we need to go for 2022. That is, if your target market is on LinkedIn, you want to be able to leverage that technology. I 100% agree. And the email too is, we forget that list is one of our most important assets in our business. And so people still want to be able to be nurtured and developed. And you want to be able to connect with people via email. Truly an important element.
The operative word there, Deborah, is connect.
Yes.
We need to connect and we need to build relationships. There's no working around that. That is just a fact. Because while technology has changed, methodologies and tactics have changed, one thing that hasn't really changed are people, emotions. People are still the same. They still have the same buttons that need to be pressed. Perhaps the only nature of people that has changed is that people have become more impatient They expect things now. They're more intolerant. They want evidence. They want proof. So all that accelerates people's behavior. However, those buttons that need to be pressed are all still there. People still want to get to know you. People want to get to like you. And once they like you, they will consider trusting you. And only once trust has been developed, then is the person in a position to transact, help the other person, buy or use the other person's services, products. So that relationship is very important, and it needs to exist. It needs to be developed, and development is a function of time. It doesn't happen overnight. It requires many touch points, more than one communication channel, definitely more than one message. And these messages are two-way, not one-way. It's all about getting to know the other person, building a comfortable relationship. And to do all that, we use the technology. It's not that the technology does all that for us. We use the technology to enable us to build these relationships. Deborah.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree with that. The technology is an asset that we're using. So we need to be able to figure out which technology is going to be the right thing for us. So, but here's something that could be holding us back. Next slide, please, Moreno, which is the hyperachiever. I mean, we could be mentally and emotionally holding ourselves back because we are, as business owners, dependent on constant performance and achievement of, for self-respect and self-validation. And so what happens is that latest achievement that we had that was really a success is quickly discounted. And then we figure we need more. So we're constantly striving for that next successful thing that's going to break things free for us. And so we've got this financial miracle in our bank account happening. So we're asking the question, what's next? Next slide there, Moreno. We could also be running into a problem where we're hyper vigilant. In other words, if we're trying a strategy or we're considering leaping into trying a strategy online and becoming more visible, is we've got this continuous, intense anxiety about all the dangers and what could go wrong. So vigilance that can never rest. We're thinking, is this going to work? What if it fails? And I would think that this is what stops a lot of people from being successful. But by leveraging the simplicity of the technology that Moreno was sharing, we end up being successful instead of striving for that next thing that is actually stopping us or standing in our way.
Deborah, all this that you're describing is a race. All this is happening because we are a very competitive society and we are in a race of the fittest. It's like racing a car, that when you are driving way too fast, then you become anxious and fearful if you don't know how the road is going to end, especially if there is a bend at the end and you're not going to make it. Let's face it, what we haven't mentioned so far is the fact that it is extremely competitive out there and becoming more so. It's just so much more difficult to get marketing results today. The world has become one. We are now competing with everyone else on this planet. Just think of the way it was, say, 50 years ago. We were maybe competing with only those living in our hometown. So that is how radically changed it has. And we just need to be smarter than the rest. And one way is certainly by being mentally fit. There's no question about it. It does require way more mental energy than we've ever needed to use before. Deborah?
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, Moreno, on that point, which brings me to the next slide, Moreno, where you're talking about being competitive. So this is the key here, is that this is important when opportunities come up. You don't want to miss them. And we want to take advantage and be very timely in our approach in how we connect with our audience and deliver the messages that are within us. And they've got to be authentic messages and real messages and giving real value to the audience. So flip to the next slide there, Moreno.
Yes, people want authenticity more than ever before.
True. And you talked about this. We have this fear of missing out, which actually, and because of that, we may end up stepping into the wrong products or services or the wrong marketing strategies that are actually right for us at this particular moment. So flip to the next slide, Moreno, because you had talked about this already or alluded to this, about the fear of missing out, but also that silver bullet. We think that silver bullet's just ahead, and we go, oh, that's a shiny object. I want to run for it and go for it. And in fact, that can be detrimental to the success, because you might be just getting around the corner to what's going to be successful for you in the marketing realm.
When you showed the FOMO slide, what came to mind is a party. It's like going to a party where there's a lot of food and you want to eat as much as possible and eat everything that there is on the table. Is it really necessary? No. What is it going to you? It's going to make you sick, anxious. So there's no benefit. And as for the silver bullet, is there a best food at the party? No. Food is food. Marketing is marketing.
Yeah.
You want me to go to the next slide, Debbie?
Yeah, please. Because really, here's what it comes down to, is that when you step into the online world, when you're getting on stage, when you're getting visible, you have to get over your fears. And you have to realize that there are going to be issues and problems with technology, other problems that come up that interrupt perfection. Nothing is perfect. And this is all about being authentic. But bottom line is, you got to learn to conquer your fears in the process.
Yes, fears. Keep things simple. Be calm. Stay relaxed. And control only those things that you're able to control, which really are those within you. Things external to you cannot be controlled. And I think that is when we become most anxious and fearful, when we can see that we are losing grip with those things outside our control.
Right.
So we need to let go and just manage what is manageable within our reach, and forget about all those many other things out there which really are not necessary.
I agree. Flip to the next slide, Moreno, because this is about transforming your fear into action, really leveraging your mind, working with the positive aspects of your mind, overcoming the fear with very specific strategies, and then leveraging it with tools that it will get you visible, such as LinkedIn Lives. So it is all about taking action. And, if you're having any challenges, turning those challenges into gifts and opportunities. And this is your opportunity to get visible, to get live, to get seen and heard.
Yes, like people, business owners, marketers need to engage two types of new technology: live video or live streaming, and webinars. And essentially, well, they're both video based, live video, and those are recorded. The benefit, the advantage, the bonus there is that these recordings can be edited, and many small video content can be created from these recordings, and that can be marketing content for you.
Yeah, and I like the idea of the Moreno people reusing their content again. That is one of those timeless, basic marketing principles that really leverages your time and your energy and your dollars, of course. So flip to the next slide, Moreno. This is about you promoting yourself and having the willingness to promote yourself in the process. And the next slide there, Moreno, not being afraid to be yourself in the process. This is absolutely key, is people are driven by your authenticity, knowing that you're there to support them and to encourage them and to give them really great value.
Yes, we just need to be ourselves. No one is expecting a Hollywood actor. And we just need to take the plunge. It's not even a plunge, just take action, take that step, and not be fearful, because this fear of presenting oneself in front of many, it's all in the mind. It's just a question of overcoming that imaginary fear. It's not going to kill anyone.
Absolutely. Flip to the next slide, Moreno, because you had talked about this, and this is about a simple strategy, and probably one of the simplest strategies online for getting visibility, for getting people to follow you and to interact with you. This is absolutely key. And flip to the last slide, Moreno, because we are suggesting to you very simple, effective, affordable promotion tactics. And it includes LinkedIn live streaming or live video and webinars, and using the technology and leveraging the technology in a variety of different ways that will also build your list. So these strategies are what's going to be recommended in 2022, this year, as the most popular online strategies for marketing, because they encompass speaking, which is sort of the number one highest paid marketing strategy that's out there. And it's a highly, highly beneficial for the growth of your company.
Yes, and they're also most popular because they're effective and they're easier than you think. The difference between live streaming, say LinkedIn Live, and webinars is that you as the host have much more control over your audience in a webinar setting. And a webinar is way more effective from a promotion sales point of view. Whereas live video like LinkedIn Live is more effective for promotion, being seen and heard in more places more often.
Yeah, and if this is a strategy that you'd like to discuss with us, you can private message me or you can private message Moreno, because we've put together a really special package for you, essentially, which includes mastering your mental fitness, using the latest neuroscience to overcome your fears. So the process is not difficult, but becomes easy and simple mentally. You're not fighting with those fears inside your head. You're actually quieting them, and you're actually looking forward to getting live and visible. And then we're going to support you in getting on LinkedIn Live and recording some of your interviews in that process. So reach out to us. We look forward to connecting with you and love your comments on the presentation today.
Okay, Deborah, it sounds like we've come to the end of our 30-minute LinkedIn Live session this morning, despite our technical hiccups at the beginning.
Absolutely. So thanks, Moreno, for connecting with me again today. And to our audience, thank you very much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again next Thursday at 9 a.m. for another LinkedIn Live session.
Thank you, Deborah. Well said. Goodbye, everyone.